Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space created weekly is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Welcome to those of you that are listening for the very first time. This show is growing like crazy, and I'm sure that there are people that are listening for the first time because they saw the title of this episode and thought, I find myself in this situation, or I'm curious to hear from someone that has walked in my shoes before, what these different lessons are that she's learned that may help me with where I'm at right now. I'm excited to share more and kind of tell you about just something that happened over the weekend that inspired me to share an episode like this. But before we do that, always want to take the opportunity to just shout out, whether it be listeners or just things that I'm seeing out there in the world, people showing up as the strongest versions of them. And I want to take a moment to shout out a girl. Her name is Jamie Olson. And she goes to Pursuit here in Windsor, Colorado. She trains with one of our physical therapists, Katie. And last year, this gal competed in our very first DECA Strong, like ever. And a few years prior to that, she had a pretty intense stroke. And guys, like a stroke to the point where she was unable to stand for more than 10 seconds. She had to relearn how to walk. She's currently in the gym rebuilding her strength that she's lost since then. Like, it has been nothing but a battle. And last year she decided that she wasn't going to take no for an answer, that she wasn't going to allow the situation that she was in to dictate something that she wanted to do. She was going to show herself that she could, and she was going to compete in something like a DECA to show herself that she could. And she did it, not only just once, but twice. And she PR'd. And she just inspired so many of us. And I just saw her back in the gym this morning training, doing her med ball sit-ups, which is incredibly impressive. With one arm, that she's able to hold on to the ball and go back behind her head and touch in between her legs. And I'm like, crap, I don't even know if I could do that. So it just is incredibly inspiring. And it just serves as a source, I think, of motivation and inspiration for all of us that we can do hard things. Jamie is an example of that. And so I just wanted to shout her out for her strength, not only physically, but just mentally, for continuing to push through whatever life throws at her. So just so freaking proud of you. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the topic of this week. So I want to set the stage in that there was something that occurred this past weekend that really struck a chord with me. I was sitting in the recovery room at my gym, and these really cute, sweet girls are in there, like wearing their cute little matching shorts, Lululemon. They're in the sauna together, and then they go into the red light therapy together, and then they're taking turns in the tanning bed. I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I never did this when I was their age. Am I even a girl? But I digress on that. But then they started to weigh themselves. There's a scale in there. And one of the girls hops off, and just the panic and fear on her face of oh my gosh, I gained weight overnight. I don't know how, the whole thing, watching it happen, it just absolutely broke my heart. Because I remember the day where I was that person, and I was crossing my fingers, I was crossing my freaking toes, that when I hopped on that scale, that it would show a number lower than whenever I hopped on it last time. I lived and I died by that thing. And just to see that that's what we're worried about at that age already, that they're not just worried about I don't know, being healthy, for the fact of just being healthy at that age and being able to give yourself the luxury of doing things like playing sports and going on adventures with your friends and creating memories when you're in like arguably one of the best primes of your life. Like, we're worried about that, about stepping on the scale and gaining a few pounds overnight. It absolutely shattered me. And for those of you that don't know my story, I want to share at least a little snippet of it. So back in 2018, I found myself at what I would call my personal hell, my rock bottom. I was in a very not so great relationship with someone that just tore me apart. Like, as a person, made me feel like I wasn't enough, like manipulated me emotionally, which just was incredibly toxic. I was working anywhere from 45 to 55 hours a week in a corporate sales job where the motto is do more, keep continuing to do more. There's always more to do. I was overweight by a good bit. I was actually considered obese. I was over 200 pounds, 205 at my heaviest. And I was in my like earliest 20s, like 23 to 24. And I had no aspirations for my life. I had no idea like where I was going. Like, I knew that I needed to make money and I needed to have a successful career. Like, I knew all of those things, but I didn't actually really know what I was doing it for. I didn't know the purpose of it. I didn't know where I wanted to see myself in life. And I quite honestly, based off of how people had treated me all the way through growing up, being abandoned by friends, and just the current boyfriend that I had, I didn't know that I deserved any better. And I never like really told, I think, people how I felt because I just wanted to be loved and accepted and not be like the woe is me. But those were some tough years. Like, those were some really tough years of my life that still stick to me to this day, that I'm in therapy, like working through. But all of that to say, there was a point where I was in a dressing room trying on bridesmaid dresses for one of my best friends at the time for her wedding. And I was with all these really cute girls. They were so sweet. And I remember asking for a certain size and it didn't fit. And I kept asking for the next size up and the next size up and the next size up. And nothing was fitting. And for the first time in my life, I just remember being in silence, staring in the mirror, thinking like, who are you? Like, I don't even know who you are anymore. I don't recognize you. Like, what have you become? And it was just a really scary and depressing moment. And I told myself, like, look, I don't really know where to go. I don't really know what to do, but I have to imagine, like, I just have this gut feeling that there's got to be more for me in this life. This can't be it. And so we went out to eat, and that next like hour, I was like gung-ho on like, I'm going to choose the healthiest thing on the menu that I can. And just like a flip in me, or a switch in me flipped. People ask me all the time, like, well, like, what ultimately got you to do it? And how did you stay with it for so long? Like, how did you lose 75 pounds over a year and a half? And it's like, I had to hit that rock bottom in order to really be like, I am truly sick and tired of being sick and tired, that I deserve something better than this. And I remember when I lost the weight and I decided to leave my job and become an online coach, that I tried to save people from hitting that rock bottom. And now I honestly believe that people need to hit that rock bottom, because if not, then they don't really want it. They won't really stick with it. They won't find their why. And ultimately, they won't learn the lessons that I've been able to learn. 5 to 6 years later, it's crazy to say this, that it's been that long now. Like, it feels like it kind of just happened yesterday. No, it's been that long now that I've been living this lifestyle where I'm healthier and I'm living life in the way that I've deserved to. I wouldn't have been able to achieve this had I not hit rock bottom. And I want to share with you guys some lessons today, just again, out of the inspiration of what I saw this past weekend, just on the 3 biggest lessons that I've learned since losing the weight, that I hope that you can really take to heart today. And whether you're going through a weight loss journey or whether maybe you're at the other end of it like I am, and things like body image are a legitimate problem. Having a terrible relationship with food, like not being able to track it or feeling like you need to earn your calories, any of that stuff, right? Like, I hope that these lessons that I'm about to share with you truly speak to you. Because this is what I would tell myself if I was starting the journey back over again and I needed something, or if I was able to have a moment with those girls that I saw in the recovery room, this is what I would tell them. The first thing is that less is more. And when I say less is more, no, I don't mean like less calories is more, depriving yourself of all the things that are good for you is more. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is quality reps over several shitty ones. Listening to your body when you need to rest rather than constantly being on the go or finding yourself at the gym because you feel like you have to in order to see results. To take a freaking rest day after a big competition. And I'm sorry, this is another thing that really bothered me this weekend is there was a competition locally here, and the amount of people that I saw that went through what I would say was a fairly tough thing show up the next day to do another very long, intense workout. I wanted to shake them and say, can you just love your body for a second and just realize that like, you don't need to be here today. Like, your body needs the love and compassion and the rest to like recover, and not your ego and your guilt of like, I have to continue to do this in order to get better. Like, that also freaking broke my heart. Chasing the bright and shiny new like exercise trends and fads rather than like just getting really good at the simple things, at the fundamentals. Like, I see that all the time in the gym. It's all these brand new exercises and machines and blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm over here working on my balance and very simple plyometrics and like the little things that work that keep me healthy. Like, it's no wonder why I'm not the one getting injured. It's because I'm doing less, and that's creating more for me. I'm doing the things that matter, not trying to cram all of these things into my life and into my schedule because I think that it's going to make me better. Right? It's keeping things simple over creating additional complexity in your life. If you find yourself hitting a wall, again, whether it's in your weight loss journey or whatever it is that you're on right now, instead of saying, what do I need to do more of? Maybe it's time to flip that question on its head and ask yourself, what do I need to actually do less of? What's stressing me out that I need to let go of? What's not serving me in my life that I ultimately need to cut ties with? I think those questions are going to lead you to way better answers and way better outcomes than asking yourself, what do I need to do more of? Like, or what am I doing wrong? Like, what would free me up to have less stress, to just finally be in peace? Like, holy cow. I'm telling you, people would drop weight just like that if they just started to ask themselves that question and remove those things that are overflowing their bucket right now. The next lesson that I would share with you, or that I'd share with those girls, is you'll never remember what you looked like, but you will always remember the life that you lived or the lack thereof. I encourage you to shift your focus to what you are capable of doing over what you look like, because the goal of like aesthetics and what you look like is so empty. Honestly, it is so empty, and take that from someone that's been there. And on the hard days, it's so much easier to give up on goals around what you look like because, well, let's be honest, guys, it's probably been some time, some years that you've been in this state of looking this way. So what's another day at it? What's one more day at living at the shitty habits that you've been keeping that have kept you stuck in this cycle? You've been here. It's been comfortable, right? Like, why not? On the flip side, when you are also so hell-bent on looking a certain way, I know when I was so focused on that, the process was so daunting, and it was so restrictive and ick. Like, it wasn't fun. When you do something with a real, genuine purpose, not only do you start to enjoy the process, but you just get to freaking live your life. I've gotten to have so many life experiences that I will never, ever forget. And it's because I threw the scale out the window and I said, what do I want to celebrate that I was able to accomplish, the experiences that I was able to have, the things that I was able to do at the end of this lifetime? What do I want to be able to say, like, I did that. I cannot believe that I did that. I think about that every year when I think about the goals. I think about that every new season or training block. Like, at the end of this, what do I want to be saying that I was capable of doing? I'm no longer thinking about what I want to look like. Now, I guess, let me just be completely clear and honest. There are definitely the times where, based off the training block that I'm in or what I'm training for, just even the season of life that I'm in, right? I just went through a really tough breakup and had to move and all that stuff, right? There was a lot of things that fluctuated in that season of life. And now I'm finally on the up and up. Yeah, there were definitely moments where clothes didn't fit right and I didn't feel right. And there was just, like I said, there was a lot that was going on. But ultimately, when I decide how much I'm going to train and what I'm going to eat and just the habits that I'm going to continue to do to show up for myself and show up for my goals, it has never been out of I need to hit a certain number on that scale or I need to look a certain way. It has always been out of, God, wouldn't it be so cool to cross the finish line in a half marathon? Wouldn't it be so cool to no longer be afraid of doing 100 wall balls at the end of a race? That's a real one that's coming up here in a few weeks that I'm going to tackle. Wouldn't it be cool if, and I just take whatever follows that and I'm like, all right, perfect. It scares me a little bit, makes me want to pee my pants, time to go and do it. That, you guys, is where the joy comes from, is living life in that way, not by the scale. Promise you on that, okay? The last thing that I would tell you guys is that use this journey to improve your health as a way to become a better human. I don't just do movement for the physical benefits. I do it because it makes me a better Kayla. I am with my thoughts, I'm with my doubts, and I get to sit with those and work on turning the volume down on the ones that take away from my joy. In the moments where I'm in the gym and I'm doing a tough intensity session, I get to build my character. I get to build trust within myself that I can make it to the other side. They're truly not lying when they say that the gym is the place that keeps people sane. Guys, it is such a special place that allows you to grow in ways that you couldn't think of. So take this journey more than just I want to feel better in my clothes. I want to be more confident. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. I help people do that for a living. But imagine if you did it with this idea of wow, on the other side of this, not only am I going to feel better, but I'm going to be a different human that I'm just really proud of. That's cool. That is insanely cool. And that's the gift that I've been given after all these years, is I'm genuinely proud of the person that I've become, and I'm excited for the person that I will become as a byproduct of this all. So this is where I will leave you for today. Life is way too short. Time is never promised. And I encourage you to spend the time that you do have building a life that you love and celebrating just how wonderful you are over letting external things like a stupid scale dictate how you show up. Take what you've learned from this episode today and discover your true why, and let that take you to the places that you're truly meant to go. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today. I hope that this episode resonated. Feel free, please, send me your thoughts, send me your questions, reflections, anything. As you really start to process this episode, I'm always available on Instagram for those of you that follow me there. Would just love to hear from you guys. And if you have any ideas or perspectives that you want on topics to come up in future weeks, of course, would love to hear that as well. But hang in there, you guys. This is not an easy conversation to have. This is not an easy place to be, but you're doing the work, and I promise you the work is going to lead you somewhere incredibly special. So hang in there, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Becoming Your Strong. See you then.